Welcome to the OK Not OK Wrestling Podcast. I can't believe it, but this is my third podcast of the week. I am the SportsZu, and just to let you know, I will not be here all the time for wrestling, but I hope to at least stop in once a month to do this particular podcast, which will be our WWE betting podcast. So, we have the Backlash Premium live event coming up on Saturday from Lyon, France. And I want to just briefly talk about Backlash's history. We're not going to do that for every pay-per-view, but for Backlash, it's particularly important. So, Backlash was discontinued after 2009, but was brought back in 2016. But it was not post-WrestleMania in 2016. Then, in 2017 through the present, it more or less morphed into what we know of it today, but with some exceptions. There was no Backlash in 2019. Now, in 2017, there was a Backlash pay-per-view, but this was when we had the split pay-per-view schedule. So this was not the first pay-per-view after WrestleMania, but it was the first one for the SmackDown brand. Then in 2020, this was right after COVID had just really started, so we had a little bit of a shakeup in the schedule. After WrestleMania, Money in the Bank was actually the first post-Mania pay-per-view, but Backlash was the second one. So, take that what you will. We had a slight rebranding of it as WrestleMania Backlash in 2021-2022, but since then, these last 2 years, it's back to just being Backlash. Now, as Dr. OK talked about previously, it really has a surprising lack of rematches in the matches that are set up whenever you would think Backlash would mean that you're going back to, maybe get revenge from what had just happened at WrestleMania. Nonetheless, for our purposes today, we don't have to worry about that since there are none on this particular premium live event. Now, the last important bit of history, based mostly on where you see it in the schedule right after WrestleMania, the champions are 18-3 since 2017. 18-3, so it's very rare you're going to see a title change, so we need to keep that in mind. Now, quickly, in 2017, Jinder Mahal beat Randy Orton for the WWE Championship, and we know that probably had a lot to do with the upcoming India, tour that they were going to have in slightly later in 2017. In 2021, we had Dominic and Rey Mysterio, before they hated each other, win the Tag Team Championships, as a first-time father and son had done that over the Dirty Dogs of Ziggler and Rude. And in 2022, one that was actually a WrestleMania rematch, saw Ronda Rousey defeat Charlotte Flair in an I Quit match. So, where does that leave us for Saturday? We've got 5 matches on the card, and 4 of them are for championships. So, again, 18-3, important to think about whenever we make these picks. So, let's start right off the top. For the undisputed WWE Championship, we have Cody Rhodes as your brand new champion, having just finished the story, go up against AJ Styles. Obviously, this one seems pretty obvious off the top of the bat. Cody Rhodes is a minus 4,000 favorite, AJ Styles plus 1,000. Now, what we're going to talk about is implied probability when we make these picks. So for a minus 4,000 favorite, that is a 97.56% implied probability, while a plus 1,000 underdog is a 9.09% percentage likelihood of winning. So again, an implied probability is the percentage likelihood of an event occurring. Now, this also takes into account the book's advantage. So the percentage will be over 100% in each case. The higher it is over 100% when you add those two numbers together, the greater advantage for the book. And we do have a pretty high vigorish for the book in WWE betting. So keep that in mind. But that said, again, Rhodes, 97.56% implied probability. Now, what could happen to upset this 97.56% implied probability? Roman Reigns could show up and could interfere to cost Cody Rhodes the championship, demanding a rematch next month at King of the Ring. Sorry, that's not next month, that's later this month. Just 3 weeks from now, at the end of May. So, could it happen? Yes, but Roman Reigns is not going to show up, go to France just to interfere in this match. I really expect we're going to not see Roman for a few more months, not until he's ready to set up something for SummerSlam. I would guess he'll probably want to either have a rematch against Rhodes at SummerSlam, or there could be a big bloodline dispute there. So I don't think we're going to see Roman here. So is there anything with Styles going on? No. I mean, LA Knight could show up to France just like Styles did going to Australia and interfere there, but we don't, we expect him to lose anyway. So could he win by disqualification and not get the title? Yes, but no. I don't think LA Knight's going to be showing up this time. We'll see. I doubt it. I think it's time for those two to go their separate ways. So I don't think we're going to see LA Knight and AJ Styles anymore. That said, even with a minus 4,000, Cody Rhodes is your way to go. No way he's losing this title in just 1 month after WrestleMania. Our second title is for the World Heavyweight Championship. The new champion, Damian Priest, against Jey Uso. So this is tough with a Money in the Bank cash-in winner. Priest, has he really done anything to earn being champion and show that we should have any faith in him? I don't know. But Jey has never been a World Heavyweight Champion either. So this is a tough one. So let's look at the odds. Priest, just like Rhodes, minus 4,000, 97.56% implied probability. Jey, plus 1,000 with the same 9.09% implied probability. Okay, so what could mess this up for Priest? Alright, so the story here that is starting to build is the Judgment Day is really seeming to get in Priest's nerves and messing up his matches. Priest has told Dom and JD several times that he wants them to stay out of his business. He can win this on his own, and it does seem that every time they get involved, they screw it up, including that terrible push off the turnbuckle this past week on Raw. So, could the Judgment Day mess it up for Priest here? McDonough could do something to cause Priest to get into a bad spot, giving Jey that opportunity for the spear, Usos splash combo to get the championship. Could we see it? It's possible. Could the Judgment Day also turn on Priest here? If they do, that would probably be a beatdown that would actually let Priest retain the title through a disqualification win. Thirdly, the Judgment Day could actually not mess up for once and actually just help Priest get the win. And they could go that way, delay the inevitable for a little while. Who knows? Now on Jey's side, could Jimmy come back and interfere again? And if he did, would he now see things another way and actually interfere in Jey's favor? I don't know. I don't think so. He's on SmackDown still, probably. I guess we don't know that for sure. He wasn't in the draft. So I guess Jimmy's a wild card. But I don't know. I don't think we're going to see him come back on this PLE. Before we make the pick, I want to talk about the schedule just a little bit first. So the next PLE is in just 3 weeks. King of the Ring. So what could we see there? I think there's a pretty good chance of a rematch here. Now, will the titles be flipped when we go to that? I don't know. Could we have that Judgment Day implosion either here or in the next couple weeks on Raw and see something like Priest versus Balor for the title at King of the Ring? Possible. We could go a couple different ways. But what I really see in the future here is Clash at the Castle. Drew McIntyre. They are going to Scotland for this. There's no way he's not going to be in the championship match at Clash at the Castle. Will he be battling Priest or will he be battling Jey? Who knows? We could see Priest have flipped to the babyface side at that point if he does have this battle with the Bloodline at that point. So we could see that, but I think we're certainly going to walk out of that PLE with McIntyre becoming the new champion. Now the question is, do we want to give Priest the run all the way up until Clash at the Castle, or do we want to immediately take it off of Jey now and get a little preview of what it may look like with him being the top face on the Raw brand, at least until, Seth Rollins really comes back and gets back into the swing of things. So, I don't know. Oh, and also CM Punk, of course. I think, Punk will be coming back soon too, so we could certainly, I think we're leading up to Punk versus McIntyre as maybe your World Heavyweight Championship match at SummerSlam. So, I don't know, do we want that test run on Jey? We just might. It might be worth it here. So let's talk about what we're going to do for our pick. So if I had to say for sure, this one might be a stay away for a pick. I think Priest is going to win, but I don't see this as a 97.56% chance. In fact, if I had to put money down, it's going to be on Jey. I think 9.09% is a pretty low implied probability here. I can certainly see a 20 to 25% chance of Jey winning this time, so there could be some good value at plus 1,000 here. So my pick to win is Priest, but my pick to bet is Jey. Our third championship match is for the WWE Women's Championship. It'll be a triple threat match between Bayley, Tiffany, Stratton, and Naomi. So the odds here, we have Bayley at minus 1,500 with a 93.75% implied probability. Tiffany is at plus 600 with a 14.29% implied probability. And Naomi at plus 1,200 for a 7.69% implied probability. Well, let's go backwards here. Naomi, what do we have to see her winning here? Is there any reason, unless she was guaranteed a title when she came back to WWE, there's just nothing really in her story to make anyone think that she's going to usurp Bayley already at this early stage to be the new champion. So I think we can safely rule her out. Tiffany, very intriguing for sure. Guess that's why we see her with the second best odds. So she's obviously been very successful, and I think everyone likes her as a top heel, but is it too soon? Is it too soon? It feels too soon, doesn't it? It feels too soon. It feels like we might want to give her a chance or two first and not win, maybe come back to her later, a second time, several months from now, and maybe it'll be more believable and she'll be ready to go at that point. So that leaves us with Bayley. 93.75% is awfully high percentage, but Bayley has been a workhorse in this women's division for a long time as one of the 4 horsewomen. And if she's not going up against one of them or Rhea, there's really no reason to take this championship off of her right now. But what could happen? Nia Jax just attacked Bayley on SmackDown when she was guest commentator, and it seems like she and Tiffany may kind of work together for a little bit. So could Nia take out Bayley and Naomi and hand Tiffany this championship, maybe with a deal backhandedly that Tiffany will give Nia the next shot? It's possible. A little too early though. But, if nothing else, we can drag this out for a long time. It seems like these 4 women, the 3 in the match plus Nia, they can just all kind of fight each other for the next several months until someone else comes around or until someone else really steps up to finally take this championship from Bayley. Also, we have to think about who are the other top players in the women's SmackDown division, and those are Jade and Bianca, and we're going to talk about them next. but they are probably going to be occupied with each other in some fashion for the next several months at least. So I think it's safe to say it's going to be these four we're going to look at. So for now, it's just too early to take this off of Bayley. She's earned this championship over a great body of work over several years. Bayley is your winner even at minus 1,500. Fourth, WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. We have Bianca and Jade, the challengers, as minus 1,500 favorites. Again, that's a 93.75% implied probability. In the Kabuki Warriors of Asuka and Kairi Sane, plus 600 at a 14.29% implied probability. Whew, okay, so this is maybe our most interesting one of all. Well, that and the World Heavyweight Championship. It comes down between those two. So Bianca and Jade have obviously looked dominant ever since Jade has come along since the Royal Rumble. Jade has just 4 matches in her book since coming over to WWE. And why would it stop now? I mean, she wins in 10 seconds, if nothing else. She comes in, does one move, and it's over. But is that maybe why you don't put the titles on her right now? Maybe she needs to work on something. I don't know. So what could happen here? Well, for one thing, damage control could happen here. We have 4-on-2 potentially happening here. There could just be too much damage control interference even for two, powerhouse wrestlers of Bianca and Jade. So that 4-on-2 advantage, Io and Dakota are pretty crafty, as we know. So they could certainly turn the tide in the Kabuki Warriors' favor and somehow manage to at least hold on to the titles for now. In addition, do we want to just slow this down, have something like that happen, and have a rematch at King of the Ring? You know, the Saudi folks like to have big spectacles. Would it be a bigger spectacle if the Kabuki Warriors again come in as the champions, and it's this time where Bianca and Jade just wreak havoc on all of damage control and take the titles at King of the Ring? That sounds pretty enticing to me, I've got to admit. Thirdly, could Bianca and Jade turn on each other right now? It feels too early for that. It seems like they want to keep Bianca and Jade together as a unit for a while. And granted, if they turn on each other now, they'll be a unit and then they'll fight each other. But I think we want to probably play that out for a long time from now. So I can certainly see that being, the main event of night 1 of WrestleMania 41. So we'll see. I don't know. I think it's a little too early, but is 93.75% implied probability too high for them and 14.29% too low for the Kabukis? So I'm going to say we're going to split this one just like we did for the World Heavyweight Championship. I would bet Bianca and Jade do win this one, but I think the odds are much lower here. Only if for no other reason than that damage control can interfere and we can see the Kabuki Warriors hanging on here, somehow pinning Bianca. I think it's too early to show Jade getting pinned, but I think we could see that assisted insane elbow is really a great finishing move. It would be great to see here. I think we could see it. So I would give the Kabuki Warriors a 20 to 25% chance of holding on here. So my pick to win, Bianca and Jade, but it's enough of a betting benefit here at plus 600. I think the Kabuki Warriors are a good pick for your bet. Lastly, we have the Bloodline versus Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. We know the Bloodline has been attacking Owens for no apparent reason over the last few weeks. I guess Solo Sikoa just needed to pick a target in this new era of the Bloodline, and he decided that Kevin Owens was that target to go after. And Randy Orton came to Owens' defense last week on SmackDown, so great. We have a good match with Orton and Owens. It's great to see them back in action. It was a fun little program they had with Logan Paul going into WrestleMania where they were friends. I think that'll be fun to see at least for one more match where they're working together. So the odds for this match, the Bloodline is at -1,000, which is a 90.91% implied probability, and Orton and Owens are at +550 for a 15.38% implied probability. So what could happen here? Could we see a new Bloodline member to help out the Bloodline? We may have heard some rumors of that happening here, so it certainly could happen. Or could we see a returning Bloodline member? Could Roman Reigns come back to, instead of fighting Cody Rhodes, have a bone to pick with Solo Sikoa? Certainly possible. It seems like, we could say that Sikoa's showing too much authority here to do things that he's not been authorized to do by the real tribal chief of Roman Reigns. Or could we see Jimmy Uso come back here and get revenge against Sikoa and Tonga, who brutally took him out a few weeks ago? I don't think either of those things happen here. I think what we just want to see here is the Bloodline looking really strong in this new era. The bigger we make those two look right now, or three, if someone else does indeed come along, that they look as strong as possible for Reigns when he comes back and maybe, unfortunately, makes a face turn and fights against the Bloodline. Or what else could we see? Well, Team RKO here, they're going to have the RKO show on SmackDown, is just too fun of a team to have lose. That stunner into an RKO combination is just fun to have. Wouldn't it be a great way to end a match with both of those two Bloodline members getting hit with a stunner, then an RKO, and then having the good guys win just because that match doesn't matter that much? At the end of the day, I don't think so. I think this is all about making the Bloodline look strong, and taking out two of the best faces on SmackDown is certainly the way to do it. Bloodline at -1,000, that is the pick to win and to bet here. So finally, brief rundown. Rhodes, Bayley, and Bloodline, big favorites. We're taking them anyways. World Heavyweight Championship and Women's Tag Champions. We think Priest and Bianca and Jade are going to win, but if we were betting, our money would be on Jey and the Kabuki Warriors. So that's our first ever Okay, Not Okay wrestling podcast dedicated to WWE betting. And please remember, do not ever bet anything that you cannot afford to lose. And really, it's pretty hard to find wrestling betting online. You won't find it on your normal sports betting sites, and we're not going to advertise where we found this site unless they want to advertise for us. So, this is just really for fun and a good way to talk about our PLE matches. So enjoy Backlash. Until next time, I'm the SportsZu on the Okay, Not Okay Wrestling Podcast.